Welcome to Living on the B-Side, where music and stories come together to inspire and transform. I'm your host Birgit, and in every episode we explore the universal language of music, how it shapes our lives, connects us, and tells the stories that define us. Through heartfelt conversations and powerful melodies, we uncover the magic that makes music so much more than just sound. B-Siders, welcome to this episode. And I'm going to say hello to Sarah straight away. Welcome to the B-Side.
Thank you so much. I'm delighted to be here on this gorgeous sunny day.
Yes, it is a little bit overcast where I am, but that's okay. We're going to make it all nice, bright and sparkly today, I think.
There you go.
There you go. Now, Sarah, this is a topic that I've wanted to kind of touch on for a little while, and I'm so glad we finally are able to have this conversation because it's really, really important, I think, because everybody's not getting younger, right? We're all getting older, and there's a lot of talk generally about how can we stay fit and healthy and what can we do to stay mentally sharp and physically, of course. And you have a very, very interesting story to share. And I think we're going to start with your Music for Seniors organization. If you can just tell us a little bit, what is it and how did this come to life?
Well, when my mother was 84, she had been diagnosed with mid-stage Alzheimer's. And we were trying to decide how we were going to work with her to keep her where she was going to live and what she was going to do. And then Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast of Mississippi and made that decision for us and blew my mother to Nashville, Tennessee, where I live. And I'm currently in Nashville. My husband and I had my mother living with us for the last 6 years of her life. And when she came to live with us, she started attending an adult day services program. She loved it. The bus would pick her up in the morning and she'd have breakfast and lunch. And I said to the director, I'm a musician and a songwriter. And I said, I'd love to come and do live music with Mother and her group. And she said, great, do it. So I started going. I tried it once and it was so much fun. And I could just see the transformation in the group and a transformation in me. It was just a wonderful connectivity. The only way I can describe it is I just saw them light up with the music. We did music they loved, lots of sing-alongs, requests. And I said to the director, I'd love to do this on a regular basis. Why don't I come once a month? And I started doing that. And one day I came out of one of those sessions just feeling like this was the most important performing and connecting through music I'd ever done. And a light bulb went off. I had a bona fide download from the universe that it should be a concerted effort to connect Nashville musicians with isolated older adults who don't go out for regular live music like a younger population. They don't go out at night to concerts generally, So we would bring the music to them. And so the idea for Music for Seniors was born. I founded it in 2007. And in 2023, the end of 2023, no, January 1, 2023, I passed the baton to the new leadership team after fostering it, developing it, growing it, writing all the grants, 16 years of getting the organization up and running and burgeoning. And now I am rewiring, not retiring.
I love that. That's a very good term. I think we should all use that a little bit more in our life because it feels like after a certain age, you just get this message that, still, even though change is happening, thankfully, that, you're at a certain age now and you can't do this and you shouldn't do that. And you're
Exactly.
too old for
And it's
this and your body won't
ridiculous.
cope. And and I guess, you're already dealing with aging yourself to a certain degree because you can feel your body changing and other things are going on. And then you get this external message saying, well, that's it. You've had it.
Oh
And it's
gosh,
rubbish. And I
it
truly,
is. And it's demoralizing.
yes.
Our whole lives, no matter what stage we're in, I feel like we're always rewiring. And part of the success of living a full and meaningful life is to go with the flow. Nobody's life turns out exactly the way you imagined it, as you imagined it when you were a child and you were going to be an adult, and then as a young adult, moving through life. And the same is true after you leave a full time job. It is an adjustment. It's a huge adjustment. I went from 90 miles an hour to, you know, 0 miles an hour, waking up in the morning going, oh my gosh, I have the whole day to do with what I want. And there is a movement, an international movement called creative aging. And it is a philosophy that if you stay engaged in creative work, not for hire, not for anything but your own uh, creative expression in for joyfulness, to connect you with others, that it is a huge factor to keep you more joyful, engaged with other people. It's great for your mental acumen, for your cognitive. And of course, since my background is music, that is my bias, that
That's
music
you.
for me, and that's my ilk, is staying
Yeah.
active with music. So I'm going back to my catalog. I've been in Nashville since 1989. I have a vast catalog, 70 songs that I've recorded and are ready to go. And I'm releasing them now. I'm going back to
Yay.
I know, and it's so exciting. That and staying physically active. I love to do yoga. I walk every day. Um, Yesterday it was not even double digits. And my husband and I went for a brisk walk, and it was just great.
That's amazing.
So,
Love it. So
yeah.
obviously I can see, all this creativeness, especially the music, it really has kept like that spark really bright and, firing away. And
Well,
obviously, yeah, go on, sorry.
the research has shown that music, particularly all of the arts, being engaged, actively engaged in the arts is fabulous. But music, particularly, you can remember where you were when you first heard a song, or it conjures memory, and it's like music is stored in every cell of your body.
Mm.
Your visual, you hear it, of course, tactile, sensual, memory. It's just it's just magical,
Mm.
really.
I think can't remember which book it was in that I was reading, or I'm still reading, to be honest. They did they say that, or where I can't remember where I read it or where I got it from, but
Okay.
um at the end of the day, if you look at the universe, there is vibration. We are made out of stardust, if you think about it. When you really go back in time, we've
Yes.
developed from the universe, which is vibration. So it's literally in our DNA, it's in every cell of our body. And that to me just kind of proves what you just said, that we're kind of born with it. And how we are dismissing it so much lately is just blowing my mind. And especially with the work that you've been doing with Music for Seniors, and now you're releasing your own music again, that to me is another massive proof that, hello, it's not always the chemicals or the traditional ways of doing things are not always the best. Maybe they need a little bit of a helping hand along the way,
Well,
and
exactly. I never in a million years thought I would be a nonprofit founder and entrepreneur.
mm,
But all of these circumstances came together at the same time. I had actually gone back to school, to graduate school, and received my master's in social work after being in Nashville 10 years, writing, performing. I just wasn't getting the internal fulfillment because the music industry is just that. It is an industry, it is a business. And while, I loved writing with the co-writers that I wrote with, and I loved the performing, a lot of the business part of it is just has nothing to do with the internal creative light that produces the work, and so I thought, well, I think I'd like to explore something else. And I went back and got my master's in social work, never in a million years thinking that that social work element and the music and my love of older adults would all come together in this wonderful confluence to become a nonprofit, Music for Seniors. It was just a fabulous serendipity, you know, one of those synchronicities that I never expected, but I loved it. And now that I have moved on and the organization is thriving on its own, I'm returning to my other work, my original catalog of songs, and I have a whole different view about it. I have a whole different the angst of how am I going to get this song cut, or how am I going to get this release? It's gone. And now I'm doing it for the joy of it because it is my creative work. And I've always been a late bloomer. And, I think I was in college. I looked like I was about, oh, I don't know, 14 or 15. you know, I I have always been one of those people who it's taken me time to figure it out, but it's been worth the wait.
yes, I can relate to that so much. I
Well,
feel the
I
same.
think the expectations when you're young, I mean, I love the energy and the vibrancy and the get up and go you have when you're in your 20s and 30s. But once you are later in life, you have so much more life experience and wisdom to draw from. And you can use your experiences if you have paid attention and you're able to flow to live life a little more purposefully, and taking a deep breath and trusting that you're on your right path if you are following what turns your spirit on. It's like Joseph Campbell says, he's one of my favorites. He says, if you follow your bliss, the universe lifts you up and doors open that you never thought would. Because I don't think it's, we have some innate and personal free will, but I think there's a whole confluence of energy, like you were talking about, pushing us forward and lifting us up. And it's not all up to me. That's one thing I've had to give up, is feeling like I was in control.
That's juicy conversation. This
Yeah,
whole, yeah. But yeah, it's we could probably talk about just that for quite some time, I think.
absolutely. Next time we get together, we'll talk about our spiritual journey,
That's it.
because
Yes.
that has been a huge factor in my moving forward.
Mm, mm.
Just the awakening to all that's possible if I'm not trying to control it all myself.
Do you think being a creative and especially a musician, an artist, has that made that realization and then the actual action of letting go a little bit easier to have that trust? Do you think because you're doing this art, your brain's a bit more open to receive that and act on it?
Well, honestly, for me, it's an ongoing journey, but I think it's more about, no matter what is your passion. I mean, people are so driven, and I've always been driven, but that drive is not productive if it's nonstop and angst producing. And, I don't know.
Yeah.
As my spiritual self has developed, I have become happier and accomplished more, because when during my time at Music for Seniors, every time I hit a brick wall and I was up against a funding challenge, or something that just felt like an obstacle I couldn't overcome, every time I took a deep breath and opened up and said, please help, I need some help. It was crazy. Magic happened. Things appeared. I mean, I could not have done it without all of those gifts. And those gifts came totally unexpected. For instance, one Christmas, this is a great story.
Mm-hmm.
One Christmas, we were really short of funding, and it was the end of the year. And I was talking to my banker, because we were putting together, we had a small line of credit for our operating, I think it was $10,000. And we were maxed out. And I was on the phone to my banker to talk to her about next year's line of credit. And I was sweating it. I mean, we had less than $500 in the bank. There were musicians to pay, rent to pay. That's the model for Music for Seniors, as the musicians provide the programming as very significant community service, but we pay them. We raise money through grants and for-profit communities who have the resources are able to contribute to the programming. But anyway, I was sweating it, and I was talking to her saying, I'm really concerned, and I'm opening the mail as I am talking to her, and I opened an envelope, and it looked like a bill, but it wasn't. It turned out to be a check in the amount of $30,000, and it was from Anonymous. And I had been praying and sweating it for, days, and lifting it up, please. And there was this miracle right when I was talking to my banker. I said, you are not going to believe this. And things like that happened throughout the whole journey. It was crazy.
Wow.
I mean, wow. Really. And I'm getting this little buzz in my ear. It wasn't crazy. It was because I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was following my life's purpose. And I really believe when you commit to that, and when it is about something bigger than you, that doors open and magic happens. So now, as I return to my own work, my hope is to shine a light on music for seniors and its work, but also on the whole idea of creative aging. And no matter how old you are, find what fires your passion and lights your soul and do it. Just one little step at a time. Follow that bliss.
Yeah. That brings up the question in me. I'm an introvert, so I'm more on a quiet side. That's why the B side of a record, the B side of my life. For a
Oh,
long time, I thought I'm living in the shadows of life. No one sees me, no one hears me. Because for a long time, introverts, because they operate differently to extroverts,
yeah,
we were classed as weirdos. We were stood in a corner, for example. That the best example always is that we apparently stand in a corner at a big gathering and we just like we don't want to be here, which is not correct. But anyway,
right.
but I'm sort of wondering what you talked about purpose just before, and we
Mhm.
all probably have something that is our purpose. We have a feeling this might be it. How do you think music can help people that are a little bit more unsure or feel like they're not seen, they're not heard, or maybe a bit older? As we just discussed, being older can bring new challenges, or you feel like you're not worthy of pursuing your purpose. How do you think music or maybe the arts can help find that strength or that you know I'm just going to go
Right.
for it? How do you think music can do that for us?
Well, one way I think it is helpful, particularly to people who are not extroverts and able, is that it can happen in a group. One of the things that we do is drum circles where everyone has a percussion instrument and you're part of a group. You're not out there all by yourself, but you are listening to others and participating. You're engaged. I think that's really finding maybe a group that is doing something that you love. Maybe it's a painting group, watercolor class, or a
Mm,
choir. Maybe you've always wanted to sing in a choir. And those opportunities are usually there for people, no matter what community you live in. You just have to find them. But look at you, even though you're an introvert, look at how that part of you've engaged to bring out ideas and content and things about others. I mean, that's a real gift. It's like you give the extroverts a platform. You know
true.
what I mean? My best friend in the whole world, who I lived with, we were roommates for 10 years before we both got married. And she was an introvert. Was an English teacher, a very fine uh, academic, taught at one of the best girls' schools here in Nashville. And we were like night and day. And one day we were doing something, and she just looked at me and she said, "Sarah, everybody is not an extrovert. I get recharged by shutting down and reading, and I typically get recharged by let's go to a party." Although I do love to shut down and read too. But it doesn't matter. What I think one of the secrets is knowing yourself. And I find that one of the best ways I've been able to do that is to sit in silence and listen. I love meditation, and um, that has been a huge tool for me more and more as I go through life. But I've always been drawn to prayer and meditation. My dad was an Episcopal priest, so I was exposed to it very early on, but I went through a period as a young adult where I turned my back pretty much on it, and but then I've come back to it in a whole different way,
Mhm.
and it's been extremely um, what's the perfect word? Just in it just informs me about really who I am, and in a bigger sense, not just right here in this story on right now, but in terms of the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, that's a good one because I always say silence is music too. So, you can,
Oh, yes. It's, well,
yeah.
without those silences in music, it would just beat you over the head. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. And sadly, this day and age, I think silence has become such a feared thing, I feel, for so many. There's always something has to be happening 24/7. So no wonder a lot of people don't know who they are anymore because they just don't take that time out. And that doesn't mean you have
Yeah.
to meditate. It can just be grab a cup or sit outside and just listen to the trees or the birds and sit.
I
Don't.
am with you. Yes. I love this. I heard this long ago. We are human beings, not human doings.
Yes.
I mean, there is such a push, especially, I don't know if it's always been like this, but it seems to me in the modern world right now, with so many distractions, and, you have to be listening to the latest whatever, watching your TikTok, or, I mean, it's a frenzy.
Mm.
But I do think that there is a whole movement to coming back around to a spiritual life to ground you. And that's the word. It's a grounding.
Yeah.
So I love to be involved too. And I know you do. Look at you. You got this podcast. I mean, you're totally involved.
Mm. Yeah,
But
that's true. Mm.
yeah, in order to sustain that, I feel like the silence, the quiet, the reflective time is vital, a vital piece. Otherwise, you're always, you don't know where you're going or why you're going.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's such a good point, such good advice. And yes,
Well,
we probably hear that a lot because we are probably surrounded by humans who are doing that or connecting to that and on our wavelength, just to use the musical term.
yes, yes. Well,
So,
yeah, in concert with one another, um, you're in resonance, or, yeah, wavelength. I mean, everything is wavelength,
mhm.
light, sound. It's fascinating. There's so much that I don't know, and I still am curious about. Well, I love to watch Nova, the show Nova, which is all about the planets and the stars and technology and uh, the quarks, and inner space and outer space, and it's and we are that, like you said at the beginning, we are all the same material, the same. That's actually why I wear this ring, to remind me that I got it. And actually, this wasn't my idea. This is a person that I love, and I follow her uh, daily mindfulness. And she said one time she had a ring that reminded her to remember that we're all the same. We're all the same light, and we're all on the same universal journey.
Yeah, same frequency.
Well, not the same frequency. I wouldn't go that far.
You would hope so.
you know, um, and I think that's why we're all different. We
Mm.
all are different, and but finding those who resonate with our frequency, I think, is a good thing. And listening to those who don't. We can learn a
Yeah.
lot from people who don't agree with us or who we don't exactly understand.
Mm.
Boy, we're getting philosophical, aren't we?
I know. I was just sitting here going, this could go in so many juicy ways. But
Well, do
let's
you
change.
want to get back to the music?
I was just saying, let's change gears a little bit here. I'm curious now that you've handed over the reins to obviously other people running music for seniors. You mentioned you got your own music coming out. I'm curious, what kind of music is it? And yeah, what's sort of like your personal mission purpose with your music now? Is it just pleasure and just putting your art out there and hopefully people enjoy it, or what's sort of your thought behind it?
Thank you for asking that question. I released a Christmas song this past Christmas in December, uh, called "Every Heart Goes Home for Christmas," and that was my sort of introduction back into the recording world. And I have an album coming out in March. It's I'd say it's more an Americana, eclectic, folky, introspective. The title of the album is Love Songs to the Universe.
Love that
And
already.
and I'm releasing the first cut from it on Valentine's Day, and it's called The Waltzing Wind.
So that will already be out by the time,
Oh, good,
this comes live. Yeah, so go and check it out.
good.
It's live now.
Okay. So and that's my first collection. Then I have a collection of country songs I'm going to release down the road, and then I have a collection of jazz that I've written. I love a lot of genres of music. I love stage music, theatrical, all the great musicals, and but you asked, sort of my purpose. Now, my purpose for releasing my creative work is just because that is my body of work. And I'm to a point that if I don't get it out now, it's not going to get out there. And what good does it do on DATs or CDs or whatever on um, uh, electronic files in my computer? Not a thing. So I'm just putting it out there and trusting that whatever happens is what's meant to happen. I mean, I would love it if a big artist heard one of my songs and recorded it and it was a hit record, or who knows? You never know. But I tell you one thing, nothing's going to happen if you don't put it out there. So
You took the
that's
words
what
right out of my
I
mouth.
do.
Amazing. So you got
So
different kind of genres coming out. So it sounds to me like you're really doing it for the fun of it, to put it to just be creative. And I don't know, it feels like to me to just kind of prove to the world that you're never too old to have fun, to be creative, and to go for it. Go after your passion.
exactly, like J.D. Salinger wrote, "It ain't over till the fat lady sings." you know,
Yep.
at the end of the big German opera with the horned hat on, and then that's the end of the show. I feel like the longer you stay engaged, and the research too has shown this, the longer you're interested in staying engaged and learning new things and doing your thing, and especially if creativity is involved, if you're engaged in the arts, that just ratchets up the joy and the cognitive gain even more.
Yes, that I think obviously just the whole process of writing a song and then recording it and then putting it together and putting it out there. I mean, that process in itself is a learning curve, no matter what age you are, and it will keep you busy and it will keep your brain active, I guess. I've never done it myself, but hearing from other artists, it's quite the journey to get to that point, you know?
And fun. Yeah, we recorded a song for this upcoming album with a wonderful gospel group here in Nashville, the McCrary sisters. They're singing backup for me on one of my songs called Angels Watching Over Me. And we did it in my living room at my piano, and it was so much fun. I mean, we were all there and the recording equipment was set up, and you know, it took a while to get all that orchestrated and figured out, and but as my husband gave me a necklace early on in our marriage, and it has a little spiral, and it says, "The journey is the reward."
Beautiful. I love that.
You know, we
Wonderful.
get so caught up in deliverables. What's the end result? How's it? And we lose sight of the fact that all of the gurus, all of the sages throughout time have said, this moment is what you have. So that moment by moment, tapping in and engaging and enjoying life and flowing, because you can't control everything that happens. Just that old go with the flow. You have to sort of start the boat rowing, but then you never know where that next tributary is going to lead.
Oh dear, it's like dancing in the rain. Just take it as it comes, you know?
There you go.
There you
Yeah.
go. So, your album, how many songs will be on there? Do you know?
Oh God. Oh
Roughly?
yeah. It's already in the can, as it were. 12 or 13.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a nice collection. And
Uh-huh.
as I said, it's kind of an introspective um, journey, and very much focused on a woman's journey.
Oh,
The
interesting.
the first cut on the album is in every woman's life, and it's about all of the choices that we have and all of the voices that call to us, and you know, we're the only ones who can figure out which one of those voices is true to our heart. Um, and back to what we were talking about earlier, I think one of the ways to find that out is to sit in silence and ask, you know,
I think that
really.
seems like one of the big takeaways from today is, you know, if you're going through a phase where everything seems overwhelming and you don't know where to go, what to do, what to think, who to be, just remove yourself from everything and give yourself that space, you know, allow yourself that. What's 5 minutes?
You know, I have a woman that I just love, Suzanne Giesman. She says, 3 minute, a 3 minute sip of the divine, just sitting in silence for 3 minutes a day. Just that little bit of shift. It just takes you to a different place, and you sometimes the clarity that comes is really remarkable.
Mm.
It's worked for me, and it works for me on a daily basis. I mean, I still get caught up in, oh my gosh, am I doing enough? How can I get this done? I'm I probably, all artists, their art probably originates from some little niggle of angst down deep in our psyche, or there wouldn't be any movement to get it out there, you know. But you know, it's a journey. Life is tough, and finding ways to enjoy the journey. And I've always thought I wanted to leave my mark somehow. Never did I know that it would be starting a nonprofit. I always thought it would just be my music, but it turned out to be something way bigger than that.
That's
And you
amazing.
see, yeah, yeah.
Excellent. Now, I think there would be so much more we could probably touch on, but I do feel we've covered quite a few important points, from your nonprofit to your own journey to your music to, the silence part to, I know there's so many golden nuggets, as I always call them, within our conversation today. So I feel we've left quite a bit for people to ponder today, especially if you're getting on in life a little bit.
Yes.
you
And
know?
I hope so.
Mm,
Here's the thing, just this connection with you and bringing all this up and it bubbling up. I mean, I have some errands to run. I can't wait to get out and into the world. I mean, it is lifted. It was a gloomy morning. And right before we came together, the sun came out. Now I'm like ready to get out in it. And I feel energized. And thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to spread the word about creative aging and music for seniors and the value of finding a creative spark in yourself and following your bliss, whatever that is.
you're very welcome. I was very much looking forward to it, and it was so much better than I hoped for. So thank you as well.
Good. That's always good.
Yes.
That's a lot better than, oh my gosh, she was a disappointment.
Oh no, don't
No,
say
I'm kidding.
that. I'm
But
sure
yeah,
I'm sure whoever watches this or listens to it will absolutely agree. I think these are the conversations we probably should have more about. Like you said, I think it was in the middle of the conversation about it's all 24/7, it's all go, go, go. And, we really have to slow down. And if that's not an age thing, absolutely not. But I think the
no,
older you get, the more you realize it. That's probably what's happening. So,
I think that's wisdom. You know,
okay. Yeah,
if
I'll
you're
take that.
if you're lucky and you pay attention and you incorporate, I do think there is a well, and also at this stage in my life, my body is not as uh, able to do all the things that I used to do. And now I'm very blessed and very healthy, but
Bill.
that slowing down is part of the aging process too. And so maybe that's a natural phenomenon, that the slowing down of the uh, in, not intellect, but quieting the mind becomes more a real tool
Hmm.
and something that you strive for and enjoy.
Mhm.
Whereas I kind of fought that when I was a younger person because I had too much to do. Wake up in the day, you got your list, you got to blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Oh, as I said, we could probably talk for another hour about all of this because it's so good and it's such a important conversation as well, of course. But yeah, I think let's let whoever is here and tuned in with us just digest it and maybe take that silence and maybe be there to support them to change one little bit in their life. And I think then my job will be done.
There you go.
There you
And
go.
I also love this. Remember to breathe. Just taking a big breath
Yeah.
through your nose and slowly exhaling and letting it all. I mean, just 2 or 3 big deep breaths, and your whole attitude changes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. 100%. I'm not going to add anything. I'm going to leave it at that. Right. So I think we're going to wrap it up. Again, thank you so much for sharing everything you shared, Sarah. Yeah, I love that conversation, and hopefully everyone that's here today appreciates and loves it too.
Thank you.
Um,
I so enjoyed being here and had a wonderful time.
Amazing. That's what I'm hoping for. Right, B-siders. I hope you walk away with yeah, some really good golden nuggets. Please let us know if you do. I'm always curious to find out. Otherwise, I shall be with you guys again next time. And yeah, as I always say, much music and love to you. Until then, you take care. Bye for now. Bye bye.